I think we all can appreciate how important vision is for the way we and animals perceive our environment. It's fascinating how nature evolved and created all these sort of specializations for every species.
The eye is one of evolution's greatest successes. It acts like a camera that focuses light and converts it into an electrical signal that the brain translates into images. Everything needs to work in perfect harmony for vision to happen. But the smallest shift in those sensitive mechanics can result in a loss of vision. Inside this special lab, scientists are studying what happens to animal eyes that can no longer focus light.
We study the disease of the eye, or the ocular tissue, so that we can understand ocular disease better and treat their patients.
Founded by Emeritus Professor Dick DeBuelzig and currently run by Dr. Leandra Teixeira, the work happening here is equal parts diagnostic lab and exotic animal eye collection.
We receive samples from almost every single state in the US, clients from Europe, clients from Hong Kong, basically everywhere in the world.
The size of our accessions has multiplied every year and continues to multiply.
There are over 60,000 different specimens stored here, and while the majority are dog, cat, and horse eyes, there are 6,000 exotic ones, like jaguars, bonobos, and even whale eyes.
This is currently the biggest eye that Copal owns.
This is the biggest eye we've ever had.
That is beautiful. Look at that, guys. You know, every single day there's a challenge. Safe to say that on a weekly basis, we get cases that we've never seen before.
A day at the lab begins with a pile of unknowns, just waiting to be opened.
The first thing would be, you just look at the overall shape. Is there anything distorted? Is that a mass? Is there any change in the tissue, basically from outside, even before we cut? The tissue goes through an overnight processing into a machine just to dehydrate the tissue. The paraffin enters the tissue, and then you make a block of paraffin. We proceed to sectioning the tissue. The goal here is to have, in the end, very thin section of that tissue on a slide, stained so we can look at a microscope. We have a 5-headed microscope. We all sit together, look at it, read the story of the case, and try to understand what's happening.
These are the two eyes from a walrus, and a walrus is a pinniped, which is they hunt underwater using vision. So they need to see underwater, and then they also have to see above water. And so there's some special modifications of the eye that account for that. A lot of animals that need to see both above and below water tend to have a relatively flat cornea. My favorite eye is that of the chameleon. Their eyes move independently, back and forth, and they catch insects with their tongue, which requires a pretty good sense of depth perception, but they don't use their two eyes together.
There's a staggering diversity of eye adaptations in the animal kingdom, and it all sprung into existence during the Cambrian period. About 540 million years ago, life transformed from a dull microbial existence to an explosion of animal diversity, and the evolution of the eye is often considered the catalyst. Understanding how life went from tiny organisms to large complex creatures with visual systems is an ongoing field of research. Even Charles Darwin struggled with it. Ultimately, animals process light to compete and survive. To the untrained eye, these almost look like pieces of art. But to a trained ocular pathologist, there's a treasure trove of detail to explore.
We're looking at is the high magnification image of the lens capsule from a cat, and the cat has been traumatized. And the bright magenta tissue that's wrinkled up is lens capsule. This process, trauma to the lens in cats, is responsible for the second most common cancer of the cat eye, which we call the post-traumatic sarcoma.
Studying this kind of tumor in cats could have a major impact on human cancer treatment.
Now we can study what are the differences between the lens epithelial cells in cats and humans and try to see, oh, this gene is off in humans, but it's on in cats. Is that switch present in other cells that we can turn it on and off and kind of try to regulate cancer?
This collection of eyes is a resource for evolutionary biologists and veterinarians alike, creating an unparalleled photographic record indexed by animal species. By studying the disease origins, effects, and progression, they're helping push the field forward bit by bit.
It feels good to be able to help and know that all that information is getting archived in a way that we might be able to work with and make an impact on animals' lives.
For more science documentaries, check out this one right here. Don't forget to subscribe and keep coming back to Seeker for more videos.